Hello, and Servus from Vienna, Austria. We are working in the junk journal with the Feel Good February prompts for 2019, and I am looking through the list to see which one I'm going to do today. And I end up choosing number 13, which is things you want to learn someday. And looking at this list, I'm realizing that I haven't even done the Valentine's one. So maybe I will do that some other day. It will probably just be a very pink page, knowing me. So we'll see. But for today, we're going to work on this other prompt. And I want to start off by covering this horrible orange mess I made. And I'm just using an English book page. So yeah, and then I am just going to add bits and pieces which kind of work in this similar color scheme to what I have going on there in my previous spread on the left hand side. So you can just see me pull some bits together and gluing them down, etc. I think that is self-explanatory. And while you watch me do this, I thought I would talk about a little more philosophical topic today, because I have been listening to an audiobook on YouTube on my walk. So I'm trying to move more and to walk more because I'm at home a lot at the moment. So this morning on my walk, I started listening to a book called Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear. And it's by Elizabeth Gilbert, whom you may know from the novel and movie Eat, Pray, Love. And so this is a nonfiction book, and she talks about her life. And I will link it below, actually, in the description box. And one thing she mentions in there really got me thinking, and it was about how we get creative ideas or how they come and go. And I keep thinking about what she said because I don't know what to think about it. I just wanted to share this with you, and maybe you can comment on it down below. So she had an idea for a book, and she put a lot of effort into it, a lot of research, countless days and hours of work, and things in her life changed so that she didn't have the time anymore to work on this book. So she put it into storage, promising the idea of the book that she would get back to it with her full attention as soon as her other issues were resolved. So a lot of things happened in her life, and it took her a while to get everything in order, and it took her 2 years to come back to that idea. And what had happened in the meantime was that when she wanted to start working on this book again, she realized the ideas had vanished. So she wasn't able to finish the book, and it was just like the idea had disappeared again. And in the meantime, she had built up a relationship with this other author and they have exchanged letters for many years, kind of like snail mail letters, and they wrote each other about writing most of the time. But they never had discussed this idea of the book that she had. So anyway, they meet one day at, I think, a conference or a convention or something. And they, I think, have dinner together or something. And they wanted to talk about what books or ideas for books they had. And so they were thinking about, okay, who's going to go first? And so Elizabeth went first, and she told the idea of her book. And then the other woman said, you've got to be kidding, because she had the exact same idea for that book and they had never talked about it previously, and there were some few minor differences, but the basic idea was the same. And the thing was that the idea for the book was not something which was such a broad subject where you could easily find any book on it. It was fairly specific, or very specific actually, and they had both had those same details in their books, and they both could not believe it, how this could happen. And they tried to trace back on when Elizabeth had lost the idea and when the other woman had found the idea, and they came to the conclusion that it must have happened at the time that they met each other, actually I believe for the first time at this other function. A few, I don't know how much time went in between, but that was the time that the one had lost it and the other one had found it. So somehow the idea transferred from one to the other in some mysterious way, which sounds so bizarre. And I haven't gotten farther into it because I think the whole thing is like 5 hours, but it's so interesting, you should listen to it. So Elizabeth has this idea that when you have ideas, and she specifically talks about creative ideas, that it's not, so I always thought that the idea is coming from within you and then either you act upon it or not. But she actually believes that there are ideas out there, I don't know where they're coming from, but they go from person to person hoping to be realized by someone. So it could be that idea knocks on your door and wants to be, taken seriously and acted upon, but most of the time people will say no, out of whatever reasons, 1,000 different reasons why they say no. But then eventually someone actually picks it up and acts on it. So these ideas go around and around and around from person to person, basically knocking on their doors until somebody actually acts on it. So this was so weird for me, because that means that the ideas that I'm having, the creative ideas, like what I'm doing right now with this page, is not my idea. The idea was there and it came to me. I mean, it's so weird. I don't know. This thought is just mind-boggling to me. Can you please comment below on your thoughts on this? Unfortunately, the video is almost over. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you've heard this book or read her book, or maybe you have some thoughts on what I just talked about right now. It just seems so bizarre, and it's devastating to think that my ideas are not mine, that they did not originate from me, that if I wouldn't have done it, someone else would have done it. I mean, it's so bizarre, but at the same time, it's so really interesting. So just quickly going back to this spread, this wonderful post-it sticker here that I was writing on is from the lovely Elaine, and her Instagram is journal_journeys. And what I wrote in it was, so the thing I'd like to learn is to have a better handwriting, which takes practice and patience, which I seem to be lacking. I don't know. Yeah, so that was the number 13. I'm just circling it so I know I've done it. That concludes today's spreads. I would love, love, love to hear your comments. Thank you so much for hanging out, and have a wonderful day. Bye.